So just a quick overview of the last couple of weeks. It's been 16 weeks already. Today is the 16th session of this book club. I have been going over the book, Rules for High, with all of you. And we're actually nearing the end of the book. Perhaps we can finish during the next session. So I cannot see that many people online at the moment. Let me just see who is online. I hope everybody is well this week. Everybody is doing well. At the moment, I cannot see who is online for some reason. I am live. So, okay. So just a quick overview of the book. The book is a summary of a very, very long teaching that His Eminence Tsem Rinpoche gave many years ago regarding three topics. First is the relationship with the Guru, or the spiritual teacher. The second is how to think about and interact within a Dharma center, and the do's and don'ts of being in a Dharma center. And the third one, which in the book is actually one of the smaller sections, is actually about the self and self-practice, how to practice Buddhism yourself. So I see that Sukhan's online. Good morning to you. I'm not sure who else is online, but in any case, I will start off today's reading. And today's reading is going to start on page 193. Now, I appreciate the fact that some of you won't have a copy of the book. So I will be reading out the book, and then if anybody has any questions, which I'm sure that this section today will bring up some questions, please do ask. And we can have a bit of a discussion and answer the questions for you all today. I see that Pastor Hani has joined as well. Good morning. The mic is a bit soft, is it? Okay, let's see. Okay, I don't know. I just did a little thing with my mic. Okay. The volume is rather soft and echoey. Can I get my system to pull out and put back in? This one and this one. So the screen's going to shake a little bit. Okay, so we've just reconnected the microphone. Please let me know if that is better sound. Better sound now or not? JC Go is also online this morning. Good morning to you. I hope you're doing well. Almost good afternoon. Please let me know if the sound's better. Yeah? Okay, perfect. So, I'm going to start on page 193, and 193 is actually the section on ordination vows. So even though this might not apply to all of you watching this, it is good to know. A monk is a state of his mind, not what he wears. Why there are vows or not? In the Vinaya, which is the rules and regulations for monks, Buddha mentioned that women who become ordained should be on a lower status than men who become ordained. Now, this is a very controversial topic, but let's just carry on, and Rinpoche does explain. For the last 2,000 years, it was fine, but people who hear that today would say that is wrong. We now know that it is wrong, but historically there was a reason for Buddha to say that. During his time, Buddha was introducing a whole new faith to society.
He may have been a Buddha, but everybody else who is receiving the teachings was not a Buddha. And the ancient Indian society at the time had very strict rules for women. Women were not of equal status to men then. The women never had the freedom that men had. A woman running around with another male who was not her relative was very bad, for the man and for the woman, because it was considered bad manners and meant something not good. Buddha had to be very sensitive to the place, the people, the culture. He was starting with a new order of monks within a society where women were second-class citizens. If he was to ordain women and put them on the same level as men, with the same monasteries and the same dwelling places, it would have been very scandalous. Society would not have accepted it, and they would have stopped the movement of Buddhism. So Buddha separated the women into nunneries. They were not allowed to live together or sit together. In ancient Indian society, men sat in front and women sat at the back. So monks also sat in front and nuns sat at the back to reflect the order of society then. This was done to help the Buddha's teachings gain adherence and acceptance. It was a cultural move of acceptance that Buddha had to implement. It is not like that anymore. Now, monks and nuns sit equally, which is the way it should be. Buddha has compassion, and all beings are the same, but he had to work within the society then. He had no choice. Buddha would have known if something was wrong or right, but he could not fight the whole society at that time if they did not have the karma to receive the truth then. In time, people would understand Dharma, and then wrong would become right. The major root vows of the Vinaya cannot be manipulated, moved, or changed. But Buddha had said that although rules were made for the Sangha, the auxiliary minor vows could be changed in the future, according to time and place. For example, monks were not allowed to wear a cloth between their thighs from the front of their genitalia to the back. The reason for this was to avoid stimulation. But if you have a bunch of monks running around with nothing there now, it would be very questionable. Also, the monks used to bathe in the river naked. They had very little clothes, they did not have underwear, and because it was hot, they would take off their robes to bathe. So problems arose from that. The village people would get a free show. Some of the monks were tall, dark, and handsome, and that created problems. So the Buddha said, "You cannot go into lakes and rivers and bathe naked." But these things can change. These kinds of rules do not apply anymore, because who goes to bathe in a river naked now? Monks are not allowed to work in the fields because they might kill insects. But when Ganden monks from Tibet fled to South India, they had to work in the fields, or the whole religious tradition would die. They either had to break a minor rule and confess it, or let the Dharma die because they sat in the jungle waiting for someone else to clear the forest for them. Those things can be broken, and with the right intent, if I dare say so. I do not think the repercussion is that horrible. The minor rules are more cultural and can be changed, but it must be by a council of Sangha members. Buddha specifically advised that a council of elders must convene, talk, and decide together in order for minor rules to be changed. The major rules, however, cannot be changed. In a tradition like Dharma that has been around for such a long time, it cannot be just one person changing the rules, even if he is famous, well-known, big or powerful. Even if he had the power to change things, someone else could change it again when he dies. When he is alive, he might say white, no black. Then when he dies, someone else says black, no white. And it goes forth, back and forth. One generation says yes, another generation says no. It creates confusion on the whole samsaric level. If we want to go down that road to say our gurus are wrong and our practice is wrong, if we want to set a precedent where eminent people can change things just like that, we will start a trend. Other eminent people will arise and change things again and again and again. Disrobement, what it means. When a monk takes ordination, he has 4 root vows that he cannot break and another 249 auxiliary vows that he must hold. These vows are on the basis of the refuge vows which he has already taken. A monk can be a Mahayana monk or a Hinayana monk, or a Theravada monk in other words. But both the vows are exactly the same. It is the motivation that makes it different. The vows of a monk are called pratimoksha vows. Moksha in Sanskrit means the end of suffering or nirvana. Prati means self. Pratimoksha therefore means self-liberating vows. Lama Tsongkhapa's Guru Yoga mentions 3 sets of vows. The first set is pratimoksha, the second is bodhisattva, and the third is tantrayana. For lay people, pratimoksha vows are likened to refuge vows. The 3 sets of vows can also be refuge, bodhisattva, and tantric. For a monk to disrobe, he has to be in front of at least 4 people who are sound in mind and knowledge, who are alert and awake, and who understand the significance of what is going on. He has to pronounce 3 times to them, "I give up my vows," and think that he has no more vows. Then he has no more vows. Or he can go to his guru and offer the vows back in the same manner. The second way is if any of the 4 root vows are broken, for example, stealing with intention and completion of the act, killing with intention and completion of the act, etc. If any one of the 4 root vows are broken with the 4 factors of intention, meaning he wants it, he does it, the act is completed and he is happy, then although only one vow was broken, all is lost and he is disrobed. The 4 transgressions which would cause a monk to be disrobed are lying, killing, stealing, and sexual misconduct. An example of lying is talking about attainments that you do not have and the person you lie to believes you. For killing, there must be intent. The object must be a human. The action is completed, the person actually dies, and we rejoice. If a monk kills somebody by accident, for example, he accidentally runs him over and the person dies, then he is not disrobed. He has the karma of killing that person, of course, and he has to purify that karma, but he is not disrobed. If a monk steals, he takes an object, he keeps it, and he has the feeling that it is his, whether the other person knows it or not, he is disrobed. The last is sexual intercourse in any of the orifices, which means the monk's genitalia is inserted into the orifice. He performs the action and completes inside the orifice, then the monk is disrobed. During the Buddha's time, there was a nun who attended Buddha's teachings. When she attended the teachings, the monks made a lot of noise and told her she could not sit with the Sangha. She was told she must sit with the lay people because she had broken her vows. When asked why, it was revealed that she was raped by bandits while meditating in her cave. The Buddha asked her, "Did you invite that?" She said no. "When they were doing the act, did you rejoice?" She said no. "When they finished, were you happy? Did you think this was a good experience?" She said no. Then the Buddha said, "You are not disrobed. Please sit with the Sangha." Even though she was in full intercourse, she was not disrobed because the intent was not there. Some of the petty monks who did not know better accused her of being disrobed simply because she was raped and was in full sexual intercourse. The Buddha said, no, intent is very important. If any of the 249 auxiliary vows are broken, a monk is not disrobed. He can repair the infractions of those during monk confessionals held once a month, where the Sangha confesses any minor infractions to the abbot. Any of the minor infractions that are broken, such as eating after noon, not meditating, wearing underwear, having longer hair than 2 fingers span, can be repaired. Those do not constitute breaking your vows because those depend on the situation or the circumstance. In extreme cases, in certain environmental conditions, monks may have to wear lay clothes, grow their hair long, or carry weapons. If it is for a purpose, then it is an infringement of the vows, but not a broken vow. It does not mean he is disrobed. For example, when His Holiness the 14th Dalai Lama escaped from Tibet, he wore a layperson's outfit with a sling and a rifle, because if he wore his robes, they would have found him and captured him. Did he break his monk's vows? No. There was a reason for him doing that. In some places, it is not appropriate to wear monk's robes because if they do, they will be scorned or there will be a danger or difficulty in entering the place. They do not wear or reside in monk's robes for the sake of being able to disseminate the Dharma. A monk who is not wearing monk's robes or who has his hair longer than 2 fingers width is not breaking his vows. This does not merit being disrobed. Giving and taking back robes. If a monk or nun breaks any of the 4 root vows, he or she can never take robes again in this life. They are disrobed. A good thing for a monk or nun to do is to go back and offer their remaining vows that are not broken to the Guru. That is very important. He may have broken 1 vow and become disrobed, but he still has 3 other root vows, and he would not want to break these also. It is better to repair the vows and give them back intact. That means that if a person killed somebody out of anger, I have not heard of this happening, he has not stolen, lied, or committed sexual misconduct. Once he becomes a layperson, there might be a danger that he would steal or lie, so he would break the remaining vows. He is not a monk anymore, but the vows are still there, and he has to return those vows so he does not commit more error. When monks or nuns declare they are giving their vows back in front of 4 people or more, or to the abbot, they may take the robes again when they are ready. They can give back and take their robes 7 times in 1 lifetime. For example, a monk at the monastery may find out that his parents are dying and suffering very much, that he may need to go back to his family's hometown to work and to support his parents for a few years. He can give his robes and vows back and go to work as a layperson, since he cannot work as a monk, to support his family. After he has taken care of his family, he can go back to the abbot and retake his vows again. I have seen holy monks give their vows back because they were in other countries and had to work to support themselves and take the vows back later. My holy Mahasiddha master, Geshe Tsultrim Gyaltsen, did that. He gave his vows back properly in the 1980s because he had to support himself and had to work. About 10 years later, he went to His Holiness and received his vows back again. It is allowed as long as the vows are given back intact. There were monks in prison in Tibet who were not allowed to wear their robes or cut their hair for 20 or 30 years. The minute they got out of prison, they put their robes back on. Does this mean they disrobed? Absolutely not. A monk is a state of his mind, not what he wears. There are other minor rules, like monks not being allowed to wear sleeves and having to cover the left side of the body. But what are the monks supposed to do if they are traveling to freezing cold places? His Holiness Kyabje Dzong Rinpoche wore sleeves when he traveled in America because it was very cold. Then his zen would be folded and put on top. The 6th Dalai Lama, Changyang Gyatso, gave his vows back. He was a layperson, he had consorts, and he hung around in Lhasa. It was no problem at all. The previous Panchen Lama was a layperson for the last 30 to 40 years of his life and wore yellow chubas, which is a traditional Tibetan clothing, all the time. The communists forced him to take a wife, so he took a wife to make them happy. It did not affect his attainments, and his incarnation came back. In the Tibetan tradition, no layperson can disrobe a monk or nun. No layperson can touch or pull the robes off and say they are disrobed. The lay person does not have the authority to say anything to a monk. Lay people who do not understand the monk's vows or never studied the monk's vows will say, "He is disrobed, and now he's robed again." When they talk like that, they reveal their ignorance and lack of knowledge. It is lay people pointing fingers at the Sangha and not knowing the consequences. It is very derogatory and very dangerous because they spread very, very unhealthy rumors which have repercussions. So as Buddhists, as lay practitioners, this was actually very good to understand about how the Vinaya works or the rules of the monastic system work. And one thing that we see can happen quite a lot of these days is that a lay person may accuse a monk or a nun of being disrobed, but they don't actually understand the rules governing the monastic system. So this was a very good explanation that Rinpoche gave. It's actually good for all of us to know, because other than that, we might think that our own perception of what a monk or nun is how it should be, and we go about our life thinking from these perceptions, which might not always be correct. So I'm going to move on to the next section, which is supernatural phenomena. There were no shortcuts, even for Lama Tsongkhapa. When new people come to the center and they talk about supernatural phenomena, I would not recommend talking to them about those things. I know there is this thing in Malaysia where people say, "The Guru read my mind, the Guru knew the future." Everybody runs to the center to check it out, but how long does it last? I do not encourage that. Maybe it was coincidence, maybe the Guru really is psychic, but that is not what we are in the center to learn. We are not here to see things or get psychic powers from the Guru. We are here to develop compassion and to develop forgiveness. Psychic and mysterious phenomena do exist, and there are people who see things or have experiences. I do not deny that there are mysterious phenomena. There are spirits and ghosts, good and bad. Some people claim that they can see the Buddha. Maybe they can or maybe they cannot. Either way, it is not a very good idea to talk about it or express it to new people. It is not that these people are wrong, bad, liars, or fake, but it does not help new people. What they need to hear is something different, something that gives them relief and hope, something that teaches non-materialism, an end to hate, and anti-war. They need to hear something that creates harmony and gives them a new perspective towards that goal. After all, what are we here to promote? What am I here to promote? I could teach psychic powers, but you still have to start with bodhicitta, compassion, and renunciation. In order for us to gain psychic powers from one of the higher level deities and psychic powers to stay with us in every lifetime, we have to generate these qualities first as a prerequisite. We still have to be nice. Which Buddhist psychic monk is not nice? If we want psychic powers, we should aim to achieve psychic powers that are not going to be at the expense of any damage to ourselves. When we seek psychic abilities and powers through the wrong avenues or the wrong beings, we will get those powers, but we will also have to pay dearly. Once they give us what we want, they are going to be hanging around wanting something too. Nothing is for free. We are in Buddhism, and nothing is for free either. We have to give up our ego, our hatred, our attachment, our unforgiving nature, and our anger. We have to give up all of that and replace it with compassion, love, gentleness, skillful means, and wisdom. Then we will get psychic powers. Some people say they see Buddha Shakyamuni. When we have coffee with them and the bill comes, they look the other way. What kind of Buddha Shakyamuni vision is that? They are stingy, greedy, they do not even want to pay for their own coffee, and yet they claim they have visions of Shakyamuni. If we claim to have visions of the Buddha, we have to think if we are actually seeing a ghost behind a Halloween costume, dressed up as Tara or Manjushri. These spirits can tell us things and they come true. Then they can tell us another thing and it also comes true. And after a while, we depend on them. Behind their mask, they are laughing at us. Spirits are very tricky. Highly realized gurus will tell you they are ordinary, simple human beings and they do not see anything. There is a reason for them to say that. Lama Tsongkhapa had visions of Manjushri for many, many years. He denied it and told Manjushri to go away. The only time he believed it was Manjushri was when Manjushri talked to his guru and the guru told Lama Tsongkhapa, "You've got to acknowledge your vision. It's Manjushri." Tsongkhapa said, "If my guru said so, then it definitely is Manjushri." He then started talking to Manjushri, but in the beginning, Tsongkhapa ignored him. Tsongkhapa felt he was not attained or learned, that he was not a good monk, and that he was very simple. He wondered why someone like him would have the power to see Manjushri. Even after Guru Umapa told him and he acknowledged his visions, Manjushri told him what text to check and study. Lama Tsongkhapa did not tell people he had a vision, that Manjushri dictated something to him, and that we had better study this because it came from Manjushri. He would say that this great master or Shakyamuni wrote this teaching, that it is in this particular commentary, and that Manjushri indicated to study this to get a better view. He validated everything he taught by scriptural knowledge and not by visions, although he did have visions. The visions did not give him the knowledge. It is not that when you see Manjushri, you have achieved. The visions directed him to where to study, how to study, and what retreats to do. Manjushri told him what to study and what teachers to go to get what type of knowledge. Manjushri could have taught it himself to Tsongkhapa, but he did not. How would that validate anything to Tsongkhapa's students? The people who lived closely with Tsongkhapa may have believed him that he had visions and believed that it was good, but what about people today, 600 years later, who would wonder if it was true? I am not saying that people who have visions are making invalid claims. I am saying that for today's world, Tsongkhapa's method works very well, because even when he had visions, the visions directed him to what guru, what practice, and what text to study. There were no shortcuts, even for Lama Tsongkhapa. So I think that section was self-evident. I'm going to continue on with the next section, which I'm thinking probably quite a few people have been wondering about what was Rinpoche's thoughts and ideas and teachings on this particular topic, and that is succession. Holding our commitments will be a hook to draw our guru's incarnation back. And this is very important to know, because Rinpoche had actually taught all of this, because Rinpoche knew that one day he would enter into parinirvana, and one day we would be at a place as we are now, where Rinpoche is not around. But Rinpoche has already given us the method in which we can actually hook the incarnation to come back to Kechara and turn the wheel of Dharma again in the future. The samaya that hooks the guru back. If I make good prayers, I make a good motivation, I do my practice well, then even if I do not have the power to reincarnate, I will reincarnate in a good situation. Do you have the power to reincarnate? But you have reincarnated into a nice situation and country, and you can listen to the Dharma. This is the result of your good prayers from your previous lives that have brought you back to a place where you are able to practice the Dharma. I do not have the power to reincarnate, but I make good prayers, collect good merit, control my mind, do not harm others, push myself, and keep my commitment to my root guru. The karma I create should make me take another good rebirth, to practice again, learn, and maybe even teach the Dharma. There are many types and levels of gurus. There are many levels from the generation stage of Tantra all the way up to full Buddhahood. Within each level and in between each level, there are many gurus. We cannot see what level our guru is at. Even if he explains it to us, we cannot perceive it. Even if our guru is not at the level between the generation stage of Tantra to the 4 steps of Buddhahood or 10th stage Bodhisattva, he will still reincarnate back and fulfill the prayers he has made if he does good things, has good motivation, does good prayers, and collects merit. In this life, I am a Dharma teacher. Maybe that was what I was in my previous life. That does not mean I have the power to reincarnate, but whether I do or not, I am back in teaching. So that must come from something. That must come from the good imprints of my previous lives. So if I continue what I am doing, it will probably be the same in my next lives. That is from my side. From the side of students or friends who believe that a reincarnation or succession of their guru will come back, they must hold the commitments their guru has given them. Drawing back our guru's incarnation. If we want a successor, or we want our guru to come back, then while our guru is here, we have to make him want to stay by organizing ourselves, having harmony, getting work done on time, not saying, I don't know, I forget, I can't stay awake, I don't understand. Making Dharma a priority, not making our guru repeat to us over and over and over again the same thing every day, not making our guru talk about money, and not visualizing our guru as an ATM machine. If we do that now, everything will be good now, and we create the causes for the institution to continue. Then when our guru comes back, we can continue our work. There are many institutions in the West now where the gurus have passed away, but they manage their Dharma institutions, wait for the incarnations, and the incarnations do come back. The great Lama Yeshe has hundreds of centers around the world. His incarnation has come back in the form of a Spanish boy who is now in his 20s. There is a Hong Kong incarnation, a Taiwanese incarnation, a New Zealander incarnation. The gurus are appearing all over the world to continue and fulfill what they have left off in their previous lives. What takes our guru away, creates the karma for him to stay away and for us not to receive the Dharma, is us always breaking our promises to our guru. Observe people who break their promises, fall asleep during class, do not go to class, and constantly have obstacles. Even when they are close to the guru, they cannot stay close. They have to run away or leave because they break their commitments to their guru all the time. Even when the guru compassionately takes care of them and helps them, they still cannot stay nearby. They still run away and do something else that brings more harm to themselves. Their broken commitments and broken samaya will not allow them to be around. Keeping samaya with the guru is not just showing respect and giving him offerings. It is about keeping our promises to him. If we keep our promise not to scream at someone and we hold that promise every day, we are changing our mind. When we change our whole mind, that practice fulfills the purpose of him teaching in the first place. And if we fulfill the purpose he taught us, doesn't that create the merit for him to come back and continue to teach us? That is called samaya. Whether the guru comes back and is installed in the same organization is not dependent on the guru. If the guru is going to come back, he will come back, whether it is to the same organization or anywhere else. If the guru has the motivation to benefit others, he will come back to benefit, whether the organization is ready, doing its job, or responsible or not. The guru does not get lost. The guru will find his way, do the Dharma again, and benefit others again, because his motivation is to benefit others, not to depend on the student. The student meeting the guru and continuing the relationship is dependent on the student. You may think that the guru should have compassion. He does, but he will go to people who want the Dharma. If we do not want the Dharma, why should he come back to us? We should not say we want the Dharma, but then we do not change ourselves. If we request him to come back, we say prayers and recite mantras, but we lie, play mind games and power games, harass our guru, always argue and fight against whatever little instruction we get from him. How can we create the karma to be back with the guru? If we are always fighting, we should not think about the guru reincarnating back. He will not even want to be with us now if we fight. Why would he even want to come back to that? If we always forget things, knock things over, say we are sorry, disappoint him, lie to him, and to other Dharma friends, how does that create the causes for our Guru to come back? The Guru may be saying, let's do this project, let's do that project. But because it is hard, we abandon it. Why would the Guru come back and continue another project with us? It is not that he does not want to, we don't want to. The Guru has to die, go to the Bardo, visit his friends in Vajrayogini heaven. Then it is a tearful goodbye, and he has to go back to samsara. He has to find the right woman, go inside of her, and hope she is not a fruitcake. He has to come out after 9 months of being stuffed in a claustrophobic little space. He has to be pushed out. If he's lucky head first, when he comes out, he has to get a slap. He gets pillows and cushions which feel like sandpaper rubbed against his skin. Then he is forced to go through all the little political games the parents may or may not have. He has to watch the parents fight, maybe die early, get sick, contract some disease from his lineage. He has to go to that rotten school and study all that stuff all over again. He has to grow up, and if he's unlucky, have 1 or 2 kids. Or he has to go back to the monastery and memorize all those texts once again. He has to get his visa and permits, come back to the organization, fly back to sit on the throne at the Dharma center to hear people say, I can't make it to the Dharma talk. The Guru came all the way back through time, space, Bordeaux, and a womb, and we can't make it to a Dharma talk? But we say, please come back and teach us the Dharma. Teach who? The Gurus can come back. As I said, we do not have to be highly attained to control our rebirth to come back. I am not, but look, I am back. I made it back. It took a little longer, but I made it back. 3,000 miles across the USA. When I come back, I hear I cannot make it to the teachings. I have an appointment, but I'm going to another center. But my other gurus in town, who should I go to? Rinpoche, I didn't eat my dinner and don't have any energy. Rinpoche, I have a slight headache. Rinpoche, I'm slightly sleepy. After that long journey, I want to go back to the USA. That is what the gurus have to hear all the time. The gurus say, please return to this planet to teach the world. And the gurus just wish they were an alien so they could get off this planet and go to the moon and retreat there. Centers around the world should stay around their guru, keep their commitments, do their work and follow their advice because their advice only benefits. If we are benefited when we do the practice our guru has given us and we fulfill whatever we have promised, isn't that the ultimate hook that brings the guru back? The preparation, the commitment. What we are doing now to make sure the organization, the guru, and all that we have started will survive into the future. That is not up to the guru to plan, it is up to us. If we want our gurus to come back, we have to do it right now. We have to ensure that the organization continues. We have to make sure the center is firm and running efficiently, ensure the rules hold and the teachings are carried out. We should make sure that the institution is financially sound, such that even if we are not around when the guru comes back, there will be funds available to help him. All that should be done according to the law in our country. Whatever position we hold in the organization, we should carry it out 100% with our heart. And if we face any difficulties or problems, we should suffer it for the Dharma. Serving a guru and making sure things are running well, doing the secretarial work and administrative work, being organized, talking to the students, having the committee help each other, giving out information, creating systems that work, and not leaving it all to the guru are all part of guru devotion. If we make a commitment to our guru and we keep it, that is guru devotion. If we do not have that guru devotion, why would it create the causes for our guru to come back and for there to be a succession? Most importantly, the people in positions who can do things should do things. Train new people to continue the work in the organization in the case the guru comes back after we have died. Then those people will also train new people and start a system. We need to get organized and ensure the older students take on real commitment and do not just do things halfway. We must push ourselves to do more, do things we normally could not do and that we are afraid of. Do it. Nothing bad can happen. Even if something bad happens, something good will happen from it. Do not be afraid. We will definitely benefit from it. if we really believe that the Guru's teachings will benefit others. After we die, our foundation will continue to benefit people. There are many beautiful philanthropists in the world who would give to many causes, and when they die, their hospitals and museums continue to educate and help people. This is like a philanthropist project. The pujas. The pujas for the Guru to come back are very simple. The Guru gives instructions to one or two people, and the pujas are carried out for his journey back. This has nothing to do with our organization skills in the Dharma institution. The pujas are for him to come back to make the journey easier, to remove obstacles for the Guru to come back, and for the students to collect merit. However, our responsibility is not to do just a few pujas in the monasteries, sit back, watch TV and say, when you get back, let me know. We have to get organized. If we are working for the organization or if we are a committee member, we should do what is difficult for us. Sacrifice what is difficult for us and push ourselves a little further. The purpose is great. Set an example, then the Guru will be back. While the Guru is alive, the real puja is listening to the Guru, practicing the Dharma, holding our commitments. That is the real puja. Instead of worrying about what we do when the Guru is dead, it would be more important to start worrying about what we are going to do while he is alive. That goes for every Guru around the world. We should take care of our Gurus and listen to their instructions while they are alive. We should do what they say, practice the Dharma and hold our commitments while they are alive. We should transform our minds while they are alive. We should not just sit there and cry when our Guru is dead and say we have Guru devotion when we do not know what they have told us to do. If we want our Guru to come back, we must get organized now. Even if our Guru does not come back, we still need to get organized. If for some reason the incarnation does not come back and we find out from the higher Gurus that there is no incarnation, we have to get ready for another Guru of the same lineage, practice, background and teachings to take over. We are not betraying our Guru in this case. We need to continue the teachings and our Guru will understand because he is not egocentric. We create that karma. All comes from keeping our commitments. When the Guru returns. Once the Guru comes back, we have to have a place where we can either invite an eminent teacher to train him. He should learn and master things very fast because it is just a recollection of something in his memory, or put him back in his great monastery. The responsibility of the center would be to build his house in the monastery, make sure they find good attendants to take care of him, and train him up in the various languages he would need when he grows up in the modern world. There are organizations in America that take care of their Guru's young reincarnations and put him back in some of the great monasteries such as Ganden, Sera or Drepung to study. The minute the incarnation is discovered, the students from the American organization would go to the monastery, build up his ladrang, find the students and assistants, put everything in place, and invite the Rinpoche back. Every few months or every year, they would go to the monastery in India, Tibet, check on their Guru and make sure he is all right. They would occasionally bring their Guru to America for him to reconnect with his older students and then bring him back to the monastery. They go back and forth between the monastery and the center in America until their Guru is of a ripened age to teach. We should keep all of the Guru's items and his throne very sacred, as if he was still living there. We should keep his items very well and show them reverence and care. Having his throne and items there are symbolic of him coming back. It creates a connection. For example, when His Holiness Dzong Rinpoche left Thubten Daje Ling Center in Los Angeles, he left his shoes for us. They were brown boots that he wore all the time. Geshe Chultrim Gyaltsen put the shoes on the steps of the throne and explained that because they were Dzong Rinpoche's shoes, it was a sign that he would be back, and he was leaving us a message in his own way. When I was studying and working at the center, I always remember cleaning the shoes, wiping them, putting them to my head, and placing them back on the throne to wait for Rinpoche to come back. And he came back. He visited the center where he left his shoes. Okay. I'm going to start the next section, which is the question and answers, and see if we can finish it today. So if anybody does have any other questions, please do ask. So question 1, if we come across people whose gurus are not here, would inviting them to our center conflict with inter-center harmony? If their gurus are not in the area and they do not have a center to go to, it would not be a conflict. If they never see their gurus and they do not get much Dharma, we can help. There is no conflict. It would only be a conflict if they are going to a regular center. Question. If a monk is disrobed by the breaking of his vows, what happens to the guru-disciple relationship? Nothing. The vows related to a monk have nothing to do with the guru's samaya. If that was the case, then lay people cannot have a guru because they have never been robed. If we have taken refuge vows from our guru and we lie, does that not mean we hate our gurus? No, there is no connection. For highly incarnate gurus, disrobing or giving back their robes for any reason does not take away from their attainments at all. In Tibet, there are a few very well-known lay gurus. Sarkong Doje Chang's previous incarnations were lay gurus. Milarepa was a lay guru. Disrobing or having robes has nothing to do with a person's status, who he is, or his attainments. We take vows, we do not take our attainments. So if a monk removes his vows, it just means his work will manifest in another way. For example, Chogyam Trungpa Rinpoche gave his robe backs in England. It did not affect his work at all in America, and it continues to grow very big. His Eminence Gelek Rinpoche gave his vows back many years ago and took on a consort. It did not affect his teachings or his abilities at all, nor does it affect his relationship with his guru at all. Each guru may have a personal liking and disliking. He may prefer a particular person to remain a monk or not, but it will not affect their relationship. Question. If I take ordination as damage control, would that be a valid reason? Yes. Because you want self-liberation, you want to help and free yourself, it is still okay. If you take the vows and you hold them every day, you collect the merit. A year later, you may learn even more Dharma and begin to think, it can benefit my parents. From then on, you bring even more benefit to your parents if you hold the vows as long as they are not broken. This is why I always say that holding and taking vows is from compassion. Practicing Dharma is from compassion. The real reason is from compassion. To take ordination, we must have renunciation or refuge. It is not necessary to have bodhicitta or Mahayana motivation. It would be better if we did have the bodhicitta or Mahayana motivation, but it is not a requirement. It would, however, be a requirement to have bodhicitta or Mahayana motivation if we wish to take tantric initiation. Tantric vows are much higher than ordination vows. Question. If, for example, a monk grew hair long and had a consort, how would we explain that to others? That is why when we listen to Dharma teachings and we gain knowledge, it will be easy to quell rumors when we hear them on the outside. We do not listen to teachings or read. We will immediately run off and go away from here and there when people spread rumors on the outside. With regard to the monk with long hair and a consort, firstly, it is none of our business. However, if people ask us about it, we do have to give them an answer. They would have to ask the monk if any of his 4 root vows are broken. He could be with a consort but does not engage in full sexual intercourse that would cause him to break his vows. But this is not something we can say and judge without asking the person himself. It is impossible. Okay, and I've just seen some questions come in. So, got a question from Iman. Does that mean Rinpoche's return is dependent on the student's karma and merits? Rinpoche's return is not dependent on karma and merits. Rinpoche returning to us, returning to Kechara, manifesting as a guru and turning the wheel of Dharma again, that is dependent on us. And it's dependent on us by not so much karma, but actually merits, how much merits we've been generating. And the connection, the samaya, the connection that we keep with the guru. So how do we generate merits? It's very simple. We engage in virtuous activities. you do your pujas, you practice the Dharma, you transform your mind to become a better person. That generates merit. Every week we have a specific puja dedicated for Rinpoche's return, and that's called the Swift Return Puja, and that's on at Thursdays at 8 p.m. on the Kechara, and it's streamed on the Kechara Friends Facebook page every week. That generates the merits for this. More than this, it is also about keeping the connection and the samaya between ourselves and the Guru strong. How do we do that? It's very simple. If you class yourself to be a student of Rinpoche, or if Rinpoche took you as a student, you follow his teachings. So for some people, they have received direct instructions from Rinpoche how to practice. Other people might not have received direct instructions, but can follow the general guidelines set out by the organization. For example, we have various pujas that we do on a weekly basis. Attend the pujas. They're live streamed now. Secondly, Rinpoche has many books. This is just one of them. Are you putting into practice what Rinpoche taught? Are you putting into practice mind transformation? Are you seeing a transformation of your mind? If you are, then you're on the right path. If you're not, and you're just continuing on the same path, then the same way that you always were, then you're not generating that merit for Rinpoche to come back to us. Okay? Because a Guru Rinpoche can reincarnate anywhere that he would want to. And remember that we are just one planet in a universe with billions of planets. And different realms of existence. So Rinpoche can go anywhere to benefit people. But for Rinpoche to come back to us here in Kechara, we need to generate the merits that draw him back like a hook, as Rinpoche said in the book. It's like a hook that draws him back here because we have that connection and that strong connection with him. Second question. As Rinpoche had many students, and each student have different karma and merits, how will Rinpoche's return be affected by the different karma and merit level of each student? Generally speaking, we need as a whole to create the merits for Rinpoche to come back, and I've talked about some of this just now. On a personal level, even if Rinpoche comes back because there was enough sufficient merits generated, it doesn't necessarily mean that the student themselves will be able to connect with Rinpoche again. That is dependent on a particular student's merit. For example, I'll give you an example. Maybe you have 10 students in a group, and they all decide that they're going to do something to generate merit for the Guru to come back. So they all decide to start doing a puja together. So yes, it does create part of that merit. Then 9 of those students decide that they're actually going to put the Guru's teachings into practice. So they start practicing compassion, they start transforming their mind. And this generates even more merit for the Guru to come back. So eventually, the Guru does come back to this group of 10 students. But out of that 10 students, there was one. All that person did was do the puja once a week. So even though it added to the merit that led the Guru to come back to the group, maybe they hadn't generated enough merit to have a connection with the Guru again. So maybe in the next incarnation, the Guru perhaps isn't so close to this person. Or obstacles arise when this Guru is trying to teach, and this one student might not have the merits necessary to go to these teachings and receive teachings, okay, or advice. So here you can see there's a difference in the level. There is a general overall merit that's needed for the incarnation to come back, but for us to have a connection again with the incarnation on a personal level, you also have to develop and generate that merit that is needed for that. I hope that answers your question. How does collective karma and merits of the students affect Rinpoche's return? I think I've just answered that question as well. So I answered 2 questions in one. I hope that's okay. Let me know if that's clear or if that's unclear. And Sharon has also posted, you can also engage in the Guru Yoga practice and retreats to hook Rinpoche back to KFR. That's very true. There's a very formal method of generating the merits for Rinpoche to return. But remember, when you practice the Guru Yoga, it is not just about the going through the stages of just reading out the prayer and just reciting the mantra. One thing that we also forget is the visualization. But the thing that we forget even more is that the reason that we do the Guru Yoga is so that we can transform our mind. Why? Because the Guru is the person that we have learnt the Dharma from, is the person that we have had the most connection with, whether it is through a book, whether it is through an online teaching, whether it was in person. You have a connection with Rinpoche. So engaging in the Guru Yoga is supposed to strengthen that connection. But the reason why you strengthen that connection is to practice the Dharma and the teachings taught by that person to be able to transform your mind. So when you practice Guru Yoga, Tsem Rinpoche's Guru Yoga, you shouldn't just practice it blindly. You should practice it with the aim of putting the teachings that Rinpoche actually gave you into practice. And when you do that, the amount of merits that you generate is multiplied a lot more. And that obviously leads to Rinpoche coming back to us quicker. All right? I haven't finished the questions and answer section of the book, but I'm going to keep that for until next week, and we'll continue on next week. Does anybody have any more questions? Because if nobody has any more questions, then I will end today's session here. So just as we wait for more, if anybody's got more questions, I'd just like to say that today's sponsor for the live stream would like to remain anonymous, but has the strong dedication. May the global COVID-19 pandemic end soon. May most sentient beings awaken their innate compassion and wisdom. So just think about that dedication. That dedication goes hand in hand with what we've just been reading here about developing wisdom, about developing compassion. Okay, so it's a very good dedication, and thank you to the sponsor. I don't see any more comments or questions, so I'm actually going to leave it there for today. Thank you all very much for joining, and I will see you all next week to continue on Gurus for Hire, Enlightenment for Sale. Thank you, have a good week, and stay safe.